What is up, everybody? Welcome to the WWE Raw post show. It's your girl, Denise Salcedo, joined by Santi Zap. It is February 17th, and we officially have the stats. It's loaded. The car is full for the Elimination Chamber for both the men's and the women's. And of course, it is now time for the predictions to begin. Who is facing Rhea Ripley? Who is facing Cody Rhodes? But before we get to that, Santi, this was a pretty interesting Raw. There were quite an interesting way that we ended the show. There were some surprises in the middle, and then there were some things that were kind of like, this could be a little bit better, at least in my opinion. What'd you think about the show overall?
I like that it was heavy on wrestling because we're in that like weird, what I call the redheaded stepchild phase of a PLE cycle where we're like too far away from Elimination Chamber to get too hype, but also too close to it to not talk about the storylines and feuds that are going on, but you don't want to like use all of your best stuff. So we're in that like weird like tween era, or I guess month era or time of the month where WWE just really focuses more on the in-ring as opposed to like the big storytelling pieces.
Which is not bad because we did get some good stuff out of that, right? But at the same time, it's one of those things where I'm looking at the show and I'm like, all right, there's some things that I loved here. Like, I can't wait to talk about Roxanne Perez and that really exciting way that she got her victory. But then, and on the other hand, I'm going, what the hell are we doing in this whole New Day LWO segment? Like, what is this? So let's go ahead and dive right in. Santi, I actually want to begin with the ending of the show because we kind of had a little bit of a maybe awkward, controversial portion of this match, which was the Elimination Chamber qualifying match between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. They were out there working this main event. It was okay. I thought this match was fine. In this matchup, though, there was a moment where Seth Rollins went for the pin and Finn Balor kicked out after the three, at least based off of the one time that I saw it. I still have yet to see a replay of this.
No, you're right.
That was a 3 count, Santi. What did you make of that awkwardness that unfolded afterwards? And then, of course, the eventual win for Seth Rollins.
Yeah, that was a 3.5 count. Like, good Lord. It wasn't even close. It's always just awkward, sitting through those moments because those are the moments that really are like the snap you back into reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Wrestling is scripted, and it really ruins the moment. Obviously, those happen from time to time. It's just interesting that that's now happened to Seth Rollins twice against Judgment Day members because it happened against Damian Priest as well. Remember?
Oh my God. I forgot it was with Seth Rollins, though. I think because in the moment, I just remember Damian Priest not kicking out or like it looked like he was supposed to and then didn't. I can't believe it. You're right.
But like, honestly, like I don't feel like it took away too much from it. I thought the match was great. I don't know if you looked at the clock. That was a proper 20+ minute match. Because something that I've noticed from Raws and SmackDown recently, Denise, is that it looks like the main event's going to be 30 minutes long. They do the entrance of the first person of the main event, and then they go to commercial, and then they come back from commercial, and then they hit us with an ad for WWE Shop, and then a backstage segment, and then a promo for next week, and then they hit the entrance of the next guy, and then they go to commercial, then they come back from commercial, and then the match starts, and then you look at the clock, and there's only 10 minutes left of the show. This was a proper bell-to-bell, like 22-minute match, which again just kind of goes to what I was saying, where this is heavy, a show that was heavy on the wrestling and less on the storytelling, which, I appreciate because it's a weird time of the month.
And I did, it was after that moment, that whole little mess up thing where it looked like we didn't know what was happening for that bit, and the part where Seth Rollins does the suck it to the referee. Do you think that was a shoot? Because I think that was a shoot.
I think he was pissed. I
Right?
think the ref was pissed. And like, if I'm Seth, I'm a little pissed in that moment because it's like, I was scheduled to win anyway. Like 5 minutes later, we could have done something impromptu. Like I would have preferred the ref to just count 3 there because the same guy was going to win anyway.
Yeah, I think so too, man. But it was still that like weird moment where like Finn Balor kicked out. But anyways, it was after that little bit there that we finally got the actual finish. And that was good. There was even like a split second where I thought like, oh shit, like is Finn Balor going to take this? Even though I wasn't expecting that. They at least fooled me. I know, a split second, Santi. A little bit of a split second, all right?
What is wrong with you? Never in a million years should you ever be expecting anything good to happen to Finn Balor Balor. Us Finn Balor fans and Finn Balor fans around the world, even we know this. We are battered. We are beaten. We are pathetic life forces on this planet that still cling on to any sort of a hope and wonder that Finn Balor will actually win a match on Monday Night Raw. You should know better. It's never going to happen.
It's true. I think that, I mean, unfortunately, there's been a lot of unfortunate moments of things that have gone down for poor Finn Balor. Things didn't work out. Winning the Universal title, getting injured right afterwards. Oh, God, I still remember the bit where he freaking got thrown off of the top of the freaking ropes. Well, oh, that was silliness. The whole bit with the lights and flashing where he was doing that weird thing. Oh, man, I'd hate to think about this. But look, I think we all pretty much expected, hey, given how things are going for the Judgment Day, they all took a loss today. Every single member of the Judgment Day. Dominik Mysterio, Raquel Rodriguez, and then, of course, Finn Balor. So I think that kind of set the tone, too, where people were sort of expecting that. There was an earlier segment in the night, Santi, where I think they jinxed themselves, where Finn Balor was saying like, oh yeah, this is going to be a great night for the Judgment Day and you're going to get your win and you're going to get your win. And then questioned Raquel if whether or not she was going to get her win. That was the moment. That was the moment I knew, okay, you know what? They're going to do a bunch of straight outs for the Judgment Day.
Yeah, I'd be down if all three of these losses are the catalyst for Dominik to finally convince Finn to bring in this new member. Because in that segment that you're talking about, Dom talks about the fact that Finn just keeps shooting down this idea of a new member, and the segment ends with Finn Balor saying no new members. With 3 straight losses in a row on the same night, that could be the reason that Finn Balor finally sees the light and allows a new member in. Who's the new member, Denise? That's the question. That's the $1 million question. Obviously, out there in the ether, in the world, we have Aleister Black, who kind of just looks like a Judgment Day dude, even though that might not be something I would necessarily want. If somebody could make it work right off the rip with it being a new and exciting addition to the Judgment Day, I think it's Aleister Black.
What are the chances of it being Karrion Kross? He lost his whole faction. He's not going anywhere right now. What if that's the place he goes?
So remember when I just said somebody new and exciting? That would be the opposite. All right. Karrion Kross is on the table, I think, but I think he's the far less sexy option for somebody to be in a faction. And it would honestly feel like, I don't know, it would almost feel like the Judgment Day is just taking in a refugee from a dead faction that didn't work out. I'd rather just allow Karrion Kross to try and tread water on his own, sink or swim, see what he can do. But I don't think another faction is the play for Karrion Kross.
But it feels like he needs all this subsequent help in terms of just trying to get a story or just trying to find a purpose on the show. And so if he were to go to Judgment Day, it'd be like, okay, let's see what these do for Karrion Kross. But what if it fails again? And here's the thing though, right now, the Judgment Day, this is the way that I see it, Santi. The Judgment Day right now has hit their expiration date. They are no longer new. They are no longer interesting. They are no longer making you feel like, okay, the Judgment Day's on TV. I got to sit up for my chair and see what they say. You don't have that feeling anymore. The Dominik Liv Morgan whole romance angle has kind of it's phased out a little bit. They're not even honing in. They're not even diving into that as much anymore, where they're making all of the seductive moments between Liv and Dom. They're not even doing that anymore. And they didn't even do anything with this whole Raquel Carlito kind of flirtation bit. That never went anywhere. Carlito is just kind of there. He isn't really adding anything to the group. So the group has gone stale. If they add Karrion Kross, it's not going to be that magic ingredient, in my opinion, that is going to change things for the Judgment Day. It may change things for Karrion Kross, but not for the Judgment Day. Now, let's say you're right on Aleister Black being that person who comes in. Now, that would be a game changer for the Judgment Day. That would be like, all right, let me sit down and look at this. But here's the thing. If it is Aleister Black, the group has got to change in the sense that I can't see Aleister Black as a comedic character. I see Aleister Black, and maybe it's because, you know, the last couple of years, this is what he's been portrayed at. He's a serious guy. He doesn't seem like a guy that's like, oh, like, let me go play around and laugh and play video games and talk about chicken nuggets. That doesn't seem like who he is. He's a serious guy. So it would have to be a different dynamic for the Judgment Day.
What about a dynamic where it's like like the Dark Order when Brody Lee was there. You know, he's very serious, very by the book manners, but everyone else around them could be a bit of a goofball at times. What if we have a dynamic like that with Aleister Black?
I would not hate that. I would like that. I would be okay with that. I
Okay.
think they can make it work. All right. That's it. You solved the problems here. Because I was looking at this and I was going, I don't know, man. Do they match? Do they got the same personality traits?
Yeah.
Can we make this work? Maybe. So, with that being said, we got to get into, of course, I know when you said, like, it's a little too early in terms of making predictions, but we officially have all of the guys that we need to have into this Elimination Chamber. Damian Priest, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, John Cena, Seth Rollins. Again, star-studded. That seems to be the theme going into this WrestleMania. Star-studded Royal Rumble, star-studded Elimination Chamber. We're looking at this and we're going, all right, what can we possibly get from this? Santi, looking at these people, what are your expectations of feuds being made between certain guys and overall outcome?
Yeah, there's a couple of things to talk about there. It's almost becoming a yearly tradition that the Logan Paul WrestleMania match gets set up at Elimination Chamber with him screwing somebody over. He screwed over Seth Rollins in 2023. That was his Mania match. Screwed over Randy Orton. That was part of his Mania match. So there's going to be something with Logan Paul, I would imagine, that sets up his WrestleMania feud, whatever that ends up being. When I look at the field, it's interesting because the second that Jey picked Gunther, a bunch of those guys went out the window as like realistic options. Damian Priest, Logan Paul, out the window. You're not winning this. No chance in hell. I don't even think Seth Rollins is in the running to win this. If Gunther was a prize, then maybe, but not Cody Rhodes. I don't think it makes sense to go down that path again. It's CM Punk or John Cena. Like that's the play. Maybe Drew McIntyre. Maybe that to me is like a distant third behind John Cena and CM Punk. Is it star-studded? Yes, but it's not star-studded in the sense that I feel that like everyone is a strong contender in the way that it was star-studded going into the Rumble, where I thought like 7 people could win that damn thing.
Yeah, and then it ended up being the person you probably didn't think with Jey Uso. You should have been 8 people you thought could have won that. No, this does feel like, okay, that's legitimately 2 serious competitors in CM Punk and John Cena being those WrestleMania names. And I almost feel the same way for the women's Elimination Chamber match, which we'll get to in just a second. I think my hopes here are, okay, so let's say oh God. Okay, so let's say they do because Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, like they're starting a whole bit. So that's looking like that's gonna be that one puzzle piece in terms of storytelling in the Elimination Chamber. That's one there. And then it almost feels like, okay, well, Seth Rollins, Logan Paul are kind of left there with 2 big giant question marks of what's going to happen there. I'm still expecting Seth Rollins to circle back to all of this crazy drama storytelling that they've been doing with Roman Reigns. So then, oh my God, if this is John Cena winning, then that leaves me with Logan and CM Punk.
You're thinking about it wrong because it's probably going to be Logan versus Cena. That makes way more sense than Logan versus CM Punk, in my opinion. CM Punk doesn't seem like the type of guy that would even entertain the idea of a match with Logan Paul, but John Cena probably would. John Cena seems like the type of guy that would be willing to do that, even though nobody wants to see that. Look. Huge John Cena fan. I would love to see John Cena versus Logan Paul at some point. I would have loved to see John Cena versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania, just not his last WrestleMania. I am deeply concerned, Denise. I am deeply concerned that we're going to be getting Logan versus Cena and that the yearly screw over is going to be Logan screwing over Cena. I am deeply concerned.
I'm deeply concerned that it's Logan Paul versus CM Punk.
I don't see that at all.
I
Even
the
in their
only reason was because
promo.
of the Elimination Chamber, sorry,
Yeah.
the elimination of the Royal Rumble, and then that little confrontation, which I thought they didn't even go in all in with that as they could have.
They didn't go in. They didn't go in enough in their confrontation on Raw to make me think, oh, there's something here. It almost felt like, all right, we're moving on from this. All right, you got the gloat that you eliminated me. Moving on to bigger things. I'm having a tough time visualizing the idea of Logan versus CM Punk, but unfortunately, Logan versus Cena, it looks crystal clear to me, and I don't like it.
But see, I feel like look, okay, It's mainstream, all right? That's the big one. It's mainstream. People that don't watch wrestling, they still know who John Cena is and they know who Logan Paul is, whether or not people care to admit it. And I know that sometimes as wrestling fans, we don't like to give Logan Paul any sort of flowers or recognition when it comes to him being known outside in other realms that are not just pro wrestling. I mean, if I tell my siblings, hey, do you know who Damon Priest is? They're going to be like, no. If I tell them, I know people are not going to like me saying this, but if I say, do you know who Seth Rollins is? They're going to say no. If I say, do you know who Logan Paul is? They're going to say yes. And that is the cold, hard truth. And so it does seem like something that could happen, but at the exact same time, don't you think that, like, I feel like Triple H is very in the know of what the fans want. He knows that the fans want to see, at least for the most part, John Cena and Cody Rhodes and the possibility of John Cena winning that 17th world title.
I know that there was some buzz a couple of days ago about WWE kind of feeling the waters and recognizing that people aren't particularly too hype over the idea of WWE running Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre again as a program. What if it's Logan versus Drew McIntyre? Right? I mean, like, that'd be entertaining. That's a pretty big, high profile match for Drew. The promos would be entertaining. I personally would take that a million times over Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. I feel like that leaves us in a win-win scenario for everybody.
And then we get to see Drew McIntyre be really mean to Logan Paul.
Oh, it'd be so good. It'd be really
That would be
entertaining.
great.
It would be really entertaining. It feels, and we've used this phrase before, it feels like the degrees of separation between those two are pretty far, but the chamber puts them together and anything is possible in that situation.
I feel bad though for Damian Priest. Like when people weren't so giddy up on Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, I still feel like there is something there. And I think that both guys sort of have this chip on their shoulder where Damian Priest is a former world heavyweight champion. He's somebody that, he was at the top of the WWE mountain. And then, unfortunately, it didn't last too long in his moment in the sun, faded away. And I'm sure a part of him wants to get some of that notoriety back and keep people on the forefront. Like, hey, I'm the guy who was world heavyweight champion. I mean something in this business. I'm the guy who had the match of a lifetime with Bad Bunny. And then you have Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, who's constantly being disrespected. I don't think there's anybody that has a bigger chip on their shoulder in WWE right now that is not Drew McIntyre. And I can see Drew McIntyre being like, all right, you're not putting me in these big storylines with guys like John Cena or Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns, and you're putting me in storylines with Damian Priest, who isn't at the very, very top, right? So I can see Drew McIntyre being like, all right, let's tell this hell of a freaking story so that you guys can see that no matter what story I'm in, whether it's with CM Punk or with Damian Priest, I am going to make it count and I'm going to make it the most interesting thing on the show. That's sort of what I can see playing out with Drew and Damian if they do decide to go that direction. Unfortunately, though, if you were to say what is the most interesting option, I can't help but be intrigued by your idea of Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. And I see some people in my chat saying, oh, but they're on different brands. Who cares? It's Mania. It's Elimination Chamber. Who cares? You can make that happen.
Are we going to start caring about brand supremacy all of a sudden?
Yeah, bro, brand splits are so 2005.
Bring out the t-shirt. We're gonna have to come out with our little red t-shirt, little blue t-shirt, make it matter. Oh man. So yeah, looking at this, look, ideally, if this was me, if Triple H called me and was like, Denise, Salcedo, what exactly do you want? This WrestleMania match is for you. What are you booking? I would do CM Punk and Cody Rhodes.
How would Triple H call you? Would he be like, Denise?
It's all about Denise. I don't know. I would imagine it with a very heavy voice. He doesn't even sound that heavy when he talks though in real life.
All right. So we like the idea of Logan versus Drew. It's just different. And I just like it more than Drew Damian.
Yeah, but I feel bad though. Then what do we do with Damian?
I don't know. Toss him in a multi-man ladder match. Have him win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I don't care.
That would be such a fall from heaven.
It would
though.
be a huge.
Like
it'd be a south of heaven.
Ground.
It'd be a south of heaven.
Oh no! Oh, I feel so bad. Oh man! All right. So, with that being said, let's keep this moving since we are on the topic of Elimination Chamber. I do want to go ahead and get into the women's Elimination Chamber because this was probably the biggest part, or one of the newsworthiest parts of Monday Night Raw today. Roxanne Perez versus Raquel Rodriguez. And
Roxanne Perez. Come on. The
Roseanne, I
debut of
know.
Roseanne.
Poor Roxanne. It's like this big moment and her name gets called the wrong thing. That would, Santi, like that would suck. Imagine you go out
Of
there and you're
course.
having a Monday Night Raw match and they're like, hey, Samuel.
Santino.
I don't know.
They call me
Santino.
Santino.
It would be kind of messed up. You're like, hey, what the hell? This is my moment, bro, and you're ruining it. All right. So Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez going into this match, Santi, I was kind of scared because I was looking at this and I was going, all right, Raquel Rodriguez, though, if she gets the win, it's because she's going to be in there helping out Liv Morgan, and that's going to take a big piece of the story. But Roxanne Perez is the girl on fire right now. She is on a roll. She's had this huge accomplishments all throughout, her time in NXT, especially 2024 with the reign of her second reign for NXT Women's Championship of a lifetime, and then going into the Royal Rumble for the third time, making it to the finals with Charlotte, and now it's like, okay, how do you continue that? We all know she's going to the main roster. Why can't she have a boom kind of a moment like Tiffany Stratton or Jade Cargill? Like that's the kind of run I want to see for Roxanne Perez. A lot of the recent call-ups for the NXT women into the main roster, they haven't gone. Not everybody has had a Tiffany Stratton run, all right? It's been kind of a second there. And so Roxanne Perez, she seems like the person that is going to have that kind of a run, that kind of a start on the main roster. And so I thought, man, they got to have her win this because that's the most exciting option. And that's the one that continues this momentum for Roxanne. And so eventually, we do end up having Bianca Belair go out there. This kind of intertwines to the SmackDown storyline because Bianca and Naomi are under the assumption that Liv Morgan and Raquel were the ones that attacked Jade Cargill. So they go out there during this match. This causes a distraction, allows Roxanne to hit the pop rocks on Raquel and get the win. Santi, how'd you feel about this?
I felt like how do I say this? I felt like it was a little bit too telegraphed that Roxanne was going to win. Predominantly because I don't think there was much excitement over the idea of Raquel Rodriguez in the Elimination Chamber. If it was a different opponent, I would have been more on the edge of my seat on who was going to win. I think from the beginning, I knew that Roxanne was going to win. And I also knew in the back of my head that Bianca and Jade had yet to interfere when they said on Friday Night SmackDown that they were going to go out and confront Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And I figured from a mile away, we were going to get that happen right here in this match, which I think is smart because it ultimately did kind of protect Raquel. Taking a loss from a rookie can be damaging to, as the kids say these days, to your aura. Negative aura levels is something that they would say. But losing in the way that she did, a distraction from two main eventers in Naomi and Bianca Belair, does kind of protect that aura of Raquel Rodriguez. But yeah, I mean, it was always going to be Roxanne. I don't think there would have been anybody satisfied if it was Raquel.
I would have been sad if she got screwed out of that moment. I really wanted it to be Roxanne, so I was thrilled when it was. And I feel bad for Raquel, especially because she was gone for such a long time. And I am rooting for Raquel, but this moment just felt like it was Roxanne's moment to run with. So with that being said, we got the Elimination Chamber match. Now Roxanne, Bayley, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Bianca Belair. Do you think that this is similar to the men's Elimination Chamber in the sense where there's only a couple of real options? Because to me, the real couple options are Bayley, Bianca, and Alexa. Those are the ones that seem like the real options to me.
I think it's just Liv, if I'm being honest with you.
What?
I legit think that in terms of realistic options, we have Liv. Now that Charlotte has picked, I wish Charlotte hadn't picked yet. I really wish. Here's what I envisioned. All right, can I tell you my little headcanon that I
Yes,
wanted to see?
please.
When I saw Trish Stratus in the crowd, I was like, okay, this is brilliant. Let's have Trish versus Tiffany at Elimination Chamber and have Tiffany win. And that Tiffany win is what makes Charlotte say, you are worthy of me picking you for WrestleMania. Because we had Charlotte the week prior get on your knees and bark for me to pick you to be my opponent at WrestleMania. Charlotte didn't see that, didn't see that as a worthy option for her. And then she picks her after a DQ win. It just seemed weird. It didn't seem like it connected, right? But now that Charlotte has picked, and it is Tiffany Stratton, I think it just completely closes down the windows on who's available. Alexa Bliss, I know we talked about brands don't really matter, but her being sent to SmackDown and just having absolutely nothing to do with Rhea Ripley at the moment, it would seem like trying to create something out of nothing in a short amount of time. Bianca and Naomi, I would have thought that Bianca was a strong contender for this, but with the ever looming story of Jade, it doesn't seem like they could bypass that story to get to the dream match with Rhea Ripley in time, because it's just too big of a story to just try and toss to the side. And then when I look at Bayley, no way, no shot. Like I just keep coming down. And Roxanne Perez would be a pretty cool option if they decided to pull the trigger on somebody like Roxanne Perez. But the way I see it playing out, it's Liv Morgan winning, Liv Morgan attacking Rhea Ripley during the match against Io Sky to set up a triple threat between those three.
Oh man, see, this stresses me out, Santi, because I can't argue your points here. Because look, I want it to be Bianca Belair. I
Yeah,
really, truly
me
want
too.
it to be
Me
her.
too.
But you're right in the sense that that storyline that they're doing with Jade and Naomi, that is a damn big storyline. So it would be, if we do get her and Rhea, this would be something she would be dealing with simultaneously. She would be dealing with this whole thing of who attacked her friend, and I'm also a tag team champion, and I got to honor my responsibilities with that. And then at the same time, all right, I'm still trying to make it as a single star and do that. Those are two totally different stories that you would have to somehow make work. So oh my God, but I don't want to eliminate Bianca Belair from this scenario, because to me, she's the most intriguing option. Alexa Bliss just came back. She just came back. And I feel like I still have to, it, it could be Alexa, but I don't know if that, she seems like the most open in terms of a possible,
Yeah.
of it
But
being
even
her. Like there's
she,
space for this to happen.
yeah, but even she, to a degree, we have to have like blinders on for her because she's got something looming. The return of the Wyatt Six. That's the thing that's being built up for her. Not saying that she can't do that and Rhea Ripley at the same time. I'm just trying to be realistic about what I'm seeing here. And it just seems like Liv Morgan winning and interfering and making it into a triple threat just seems a lot more cut and dry as a likelihood. It's not what I want to see. I'm with you. I feel like the dream match here is Rhea versus Bianca. Just doesn't seem like it's the right year for it, seemingly based on the stories that we've got going on and trying to balance.
So why not Bayley? I know Bayley, she was champion last WrestleMania season. It didn't really get highlighted as well, but she did have a phenomenal match with Io, and she'd have phenomenal matches with Rhea.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
she's
I
gotten a lot of flowers for
guess.
all the work she's done recently. She's gotten more attention and notoriety and respect, I feel, in like even just the last week alone.
Yeah, I literally cannot argue with you. Those are just facts. I can't argue with you. I think it'd be interesting if, Rhea Ripley's just sort of notching off every single four horsewoman, right? Because in subsequent manias, it'd be Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, right? And maybe somewhere down the line, we got Mercedes Moné, CEO, somewhere down the line. I just don't want that. I think it's just like, I'm
It
good.
doesn't scream WrestleMania to you. I think it can, only because I
Yeah.
like Bayley so much.
They I'd be fine with it if they ran it. I wouldn't complain because like you've pointed out everything factually and I cannot shoot it down. I think it's just like I see that match and it just doesn't seem particularly like too appealing. Then again, Io versus Bayley was one of the best matches of last year's WrestleMania. So why not? But then that kind of leaves Io as odd woman out in all of this. I don't know.
I mean, she is already getting her Elimination Chamber match, so there's that at least. She'll get that going. So, dang, it just feels like there's just a lot. I guess the options are even slimmer than for the women's elimination chamber. And with that being said, I'm kind of okay. So I'm on the team of Naomi, still the one who secretly attacked Jade. I still haven't dropped that whole thing. I'm hoping that's a story they do tell. And I'm wondering if this is where we start to see Naomi maybe show her true colors. But then again, I'm kind of I have booked. I'm trying to see what I want to see to suit my narrative. And my narrative is that Naomi's the one who secretly attacked Jade Cargill. And I'm trying to do everything to see my narrative come true. So that's why I'm trying to see this match a little bit differently in the sense that maybe Naomi will finally show her true colors here. But then at the same time, they're still tag team champions.
There is a world where we could get our cake and eat it too, where the Mania match isn't Jade versus Bianca. Maybe it's Jade versus Naomi, which opens up Bianca for it to be Bianca versus Rhea. That world exists somewhere in the multiverse. It's out there.
Please, I don't know how. I want Bianca versus Rhea. I'm sorry. I don't know how we're going to get there, but I want to get there, and I hope they figure it out a way, because other than that, it's not really looking too crazy right at this moment. But there you go. That is where we're at. Either way, Roxanne Perez got a big moment, and I'm so freaking happy for her. When do you think they actually make the announcement that she's officially main roster?
I think they use her for the MSG show and Stand and Deliver. I think she's just gonna Bron Breakker this shit, Denise. She's just gonna be on both shows until after WrestleMania.
All right, I'm here with that. I think that would be fun. That's plus they're still she's having fun there on NXT. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into some of these super chats that we have here. Let's see what we got. Let's see. We got Rudio here. What's up, Rudio? He says tonight was officially Monday Night Raw. So happy Roxanne got that final chamber spot and how they're going with the Cinderella story for her. Huh. Wait, what do you mean like the Roxanne is Cinderella?
Oh, they mentioned that they said a Cinderella run. A Cinderella run is something that they use in college basketball, where like a lower tier team keeps beating all of these bigger and bigger names and making a name for themselves in the tournament. That's what a Cinderella run is, or a Cinderella story. And I feel like that's what he's alluding to with Roxanne being new, being the rookie, and getting these big accolades and big moments and big wins.
Okay, good. Because I was looking at this, I'm going, who's mean to Roxanne? She's not Cinderella.
Yeah.
Who are her stepsisters? Who are her evil stepsisters? What are we talking about? I was so confused. All right. Thank you, Rudio. We got Luis Arturo Mendez who says celebrating 12 months as a DWO member. Let's go. Thank you so much, Luis, for being part of the DWO now for 12 months. We also got Jacob Tatum. Didn't write anything, but thank you so much for the super chat, Jacob. I hope you're enjoying the show. Thank you very much for that. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and rewind to the top of the Monday Night Raw, because we did get this whole, back and forth with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And Sami Zayn basically goes out there and says that this time it's different. Whether or not we choose to believe him, so be it. But it is different. Things are more serious now with him and Kevin Owens than it's ever been before. And this all leads to an unsanctioned match being made for Elimination Chamber between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. So, Santi, my question to you is this story, given how many times you've seen it play out, does this story still do it for you? And is it doing it for you right now?
Oh yeah. I'm in. An unsanctioned match is exactly what this feud needed. It couldn't just be a match. This is something that I've stressed in many of my videos, that if they were to run this as a regular match in Toronto, it would just feel like such a letdown, a huge missed opportunity, because we've seen that match a billion gazillion times at this point, that we need something different. The stakes need to change. And unsanctioned, I do believe, is the perfect way to go about this. It would have been cool to have this at WrestleMania, but I almost feel like this is their WrestleMania, getting to fight each other in Canada, in the Rogers, the Rogers Center is like a big stadium in Canada. That's where the Elimination Chamber is going to be. That's like a Canadian landmark. So like to get to do it there, that's probably huge for them, like from a personal standpoint.
Oh, dude, I'm sure it is. And obviously you being in Canada, getting to explain that, I didn't know. And I was like, all right, Rogers Arena sounds great. Cool. Sounds great.
Sky Dome. That's WrestleMania 18, the stare down of The Rock and Hogan.
Did they change the name?
They did change the name. Yeah. But it's the same building. It's the same building. In Canada, like anybody over the age of 25 still calls it the Sky Dome. It's called the Rogers Center now. But like that, from a wrestling perspective, has some history, some legacy. WrestleMania 4, 7, one of those, the one that had Hogan and Warrior and WrestleMania 18. So to like those guys are lifelong wrestling fans. I'm sure that this building as wrestling fans and as people that grew into wrestling through the Canadian scene, that building probably has a lot of cherished memories for them.
Dude, I love that. I didn't even realize that they had changed the name. That's why I was looking. I was like, oh shit. I was like, had I known that they changed the name, I would have been like, oh yeah, hey, like this is gonna be a cool venue for them to do this. And it's great that they've had these like epic moments in their careers and these like venues or cities that like really signify something. Because even when they won the tag team titles at WrestleMania 39, like doing it in the city of Los Angeles where they had, their runs in PWG, like that was something iconic for their careers. And seeing them go from literally the sweatbox to like all of a sudden being at SoFi Stadium with like thousands of freaking people in there. And it's very cool that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have gotten to check off all of these dream scenarios and doing it together as best friends, or at least not as best friends, come for the Elimination Chamber. But you're right. They did definitely need to spice this up, and doing the unsanctioned match, that was the best way to go about it. Like the second we started building to this, I was just waiting for Adam Pearce to say the words, like say the words, say unsanctioned match, say this is what we're going to do. And he finally did. And I was
Oh
like,
my
thank
God.
God.
Okay, I'm so glad. I thought I was just being a grouchy old man. I was like, bro, get to the point.
No,
Like you
this was
just kept
long.
talking. Denise, this would be dangerous. And I don't know that WWE would get behind this. You know what this means, right? You know what this would mean? What this would mean for you? What this would mean for Kevin? What this would mean for the company? What kind of match this would be? Sammy, do you understand? It's like, bro, just say unsanctioned.
He's starting to sound like a therapist. Do you understand the repercussions of this? But that's Adam Pearce's MO. And I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of him as a GM. So sometimes I feel like I'm a little harsh on Adam Pearce just because I'm not a fan of him as a GM. And so that's where I was coming from. I was like, just get to it. Like, we know we want to hear this, but that's his MO though. Every single time he did this with Drew and CM Punk, he did this with Seth Rollins, he does this with everybody, where it's a 40-minute explanation as to why this can happen, what the repercussions of this are, and the same thing always happens.
He makes the match anyway.
Exactly. Exactly. That's all it is. Every single damn time. So I'm excited for this. I'm looking forward to this match. And I mean, I don't know. Is the happy ending, of course, Sami Zayn getting this victory? It has got to be, right? Or unless
I
we're gonna
think
keep telling the story.
yeah, I think it depends. Like, is the happy ending gonna happen here? Because we still have so much more with Kevin Owens, because we have that Randy Orton return looming. I am expecting Randy Orton in this, with it being unsanctioned. Anything can happen. So yeah, I guess Sami Zayn winning with the help of Randy Orton, that could be the happy ending to set us up for Kevin versus Randy, and then I guess Sami versus Karrion Kross or whatever.
I don't even know. I have no idea what's happening there. But yeah, I mean, Randy Orton's been gone for like months now. I've been wondering when they were going to bring him back. I was shocked he wasn't at the Rumble. So I was
Yeah.
looking at this going like, okay, well, now I'm assuming they'd bring him back in this match. Because if not, I don't know when the next opportunity for Randy Orton to come back in where it would make sense and he could still get some sort of a inkling of revenge on Kevin Owens would be. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into another big loss for the Judgment Day. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this one, Santi. AJ Styles defeating your boy, Dominik Mysterio. And let's be real. There was no way. There was no chance in how Dominik was going to defeat AJ Styles, Santi. Sorry.
Yeah,
Not there.
you know what? Losing to a legend like AJ Styles, there's nothing to scoff at there. Good job, Dominik. We're rooting for you. Everyone across the world has you in our thoughts after that spear, which, by the
Oh
way,
my God, yes.
somebody please get the license plate of that freaking truck that hit Dominik Mysterio. Good God.
Yes. That was epic, man. Dude, I was dying at AJ Styles' reflexes because first he moves out of the way, right, for the spear. Dominik takes it. Great. And then Bron Breakker is freaking pissed, right? And he throws his freaking t-shirt into AJ, like he throws it at AJ. And AJ catches it all
So
perfectly.
smooth. Oh, what a smooth criminal that was. That was so good.
I'm impressed by AJ's skills on that. But with that being said, AJ Styles, Bron Breakker, they had the tease last week with that simple, no words were really said confrontation. But now we got this. We got Bron Breakker seeking out AJ Styles. And I couldn't be more excited about any other match that isn't, your John Cena's, your Cody Rhodes, your CM Punks, those top people. When we talk about other people on this card, it's Bron Breakker, AJ Styles. Like, I cannot wait to see AJ Styles bump like crazy for Bron Breakker hitting that freaking insane spear. And then I also have another question for you. But first and foremost, how are you feeling about this Bron Breakker, AJ Styles incoming feud?
Love it so much that I want it at WrestleMania. Those are my words. That is my poem to you. But knowing Monday Night Raw, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like AJ Styles versus Bron Breakker officially the Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania. It's like, why are you giving these championship matches on random Raws? Mania. This is, to me, the best match available for AJ Styles in terms of like what AJ Styles, the different divisions that he can be a part of. This is the best thing available for him because the main event, that's out of reach for him at the moment. He came back too late. Just doesn't make sense. Bron Breakker and the IC title, that's the best play for him. And this is far and away the best opponent for Bron Breakker specifically. AJ Styles is going to make Bron Breakker look like $1 million. AJ Styles it will make this match for Bron Breakker win-win, regardless of whether Bron Breakker wins or loses, because losing to AJ Styles is fine. And I think people would be okay with it. Just
I want him to beat AJ Styles.
I want him to beat AJ Styles too, but like if he were to lose to AJ, it's not like all of a sudden I'm gonna be like, they're burying my boy Braun. No, what are they doing? And it's like, no, you lost to AJ freaking Styles. That's fine.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Okay, so my question to you was one of the topics that I brought up during the watch along was best spear right now in pro wrestling. I know the most famous spears right now in pro wrestling is Roman Reigns and Bron Breakker. So those are my two top ones. Which one is better and why is it Bron Breakker? Sorry, I'm already going with Bron.
I would say it's probably Jey Uso's, if I'm being honest with you. Just
stop it. No, you're not. Stop it.
I was about to.
You said that with a dead serious face. I was like, there's no way. He's trolling me.
I was about to give an Oscar-winning performance to save my life, but then you called it out too quick.
I was like, there's no effing way. And part of me was like, damn, I don't want to be insulting if Santi's being legit here. I was like, I don't want to be a jerk.
I was recently diagnosed with astigmatism, which means I can't see very well. So it makes sense for me to think that Jey Uso's bum-ass spear that looks like he's just hugging a little pillow and tucking them into bed. Good night. Sweet dreams, my little yeet. Oh my God, my mic fell. Yeah, it's Bron Breakker.
Running hugs. That's what they are. Running hugs.
It's Bron Breakker. It's Bron Breakker. That's the answer.
Bron Breakker has the best spear right now in pro wrestling. And I just feel like if it's not Bron Breakker doing the spear, I can't be sold on it. Like even Roman Reigns love his spear, but damn, bro. Bron Breakker is just splitting people in freaking half, man.
Ask speed. Ask I show speed.
Dude, oh my God. It's so funny. Like I've seen the video now 100 times. And even when they show the replay, even today when he did the little thing where he was talking about it on his stream, still watched it. Even if I've seen it 100 times, I'll watch it again.
It's one of my favorite clips of the year. It's so freaking funny.
I have so much more. Like I didn't know who he was, Santi. I mean, I was just like out of the loop with that. And now I'm just like, dude, I see you. I know you now, and I respect you for that because let's be real, not very few of us would sign up to get a spear from Bron Breakker. One of the things I said that I would not sign up for, Santi, is a chop from Gunther or a spear from Bron Breakker. I'm out.
I would add a tsunami from Bronson Reed in there.
Yes.
I'm good. I'll pass.
I would like die. I don't even think I would survive a freaking tsunami splash from freaking Bron Breakker. Freaking Bronson.
Too many Brons.
Yeah. I would be dead. Like that would be the end of me. I think if I were to survive any one of them, I think it would probably be Bron Breakker's spear. Which one do you think you would survive?
None.
I wouldn't survive the chop. Like I think my heart would stop. And
yeah. For me, I think it'd be worse for me. I have a hairy chest, so the chop plus the removal of the hand would just be like getting a wax.
You'd be like, what's his face in the 40-year-old version?
Oh yeah. Oh, Kelly Clarkson.
God, so sad. Yeah, no, man, that's freaking terrified. All right, we got Jacob Tatum. Thank you so much for the super chat. Didn't write anything, but still, thank you for the message, man. We got Chris Ledeck in the building who says, do you feel this build to WrestleMania will be slower than years past since it's later in April instead of March? That is true. That's actually not something that I've thought of. I did think about how this start to WrestleMania season has felt a little bit more predictable because of the Royal Rumble winners. We already knew who they would go into and picking their match. But I didn't even stop to think that, hey, WrestleMania is like a little later than it usually is.
It's like a solid half a month than it typically is. And yeah, I think like by default, the answer is yes, it's going to be slower, but it will pick up. Don't expect it to be like last year. That's an expectation that I'm trying to get people to temper down. In my 22 years of watching wrestling, that is the greatest build to a WrestleMania that I've ever seen. Do not think that that is the norm, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go back to regular builds to WrestleMania. It is not going to be like last year. It's not going to be The Rock telling you to look at the PowerPoint of the bloodline in the middle of in Las Vegas. It's not going to be all of the crazy stuff with the final boss. That's not going to happen again. All right. That is a unique thing to our lifetime that we probably will never get to experience again. Don't allow yourself to be disappointed simply because it can't be as good as last year's.
See, I feel like I should have heard you say that before because I went into this WrestleMania season thinking it would be bigger than last year's for the specific reason being that, okay, if The Rock wrestled last year, maybe he'll wrestle again this year. And also I was thinking, okay, hey, it's Netflix. It's the first time that they're on Netflix. Like this is their debut. This has got to be the biggest WrestleMania ever. And, CM Punk is healthy and he's good to go. I was thinking, okay, this is going to be huge. And I still remember Cody Rhodes being on the Pat McAfee show and saying something along the lines of, oh, this is going to be my biggest WrestleMania match ever. And I'm thinking, oh, ever? Like you faced Roman Reigns 2 times and one of them had a tag team match with The Rock. And Seth Rollins and Rock and Roman. What do you mean this is going to be the biggest WrestleMania match for you ever? How do you get bigger than that? So I went into this WrestleMania season expecting more than last year.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't see how it could be bigger than last year. I genuinely don't. I will reiterate this one more time. I've never seen a more wild, more exciting, more unpredictable, more awesome road to a WrestleMania in all of the buildups of WrestleManias that I've seen. And I feel like it's unrealistic to expect them to top of that. I just don't see it.
I think it could have happened. I think it could have happened if they would have told different stories. I think it could have happened if they would have told Roman Reigns and CM Punk or Roman Reigns and The Rock. If they would have told those stories.
Listen, it's possible. I'm talking purely about the buildup, the couple of months leading into it. It's possible that this pulls a WrestleMania 31 where it's just like, holy crap, this Mania was awesome. So good. And maybe it's like that, and where the buildup isn't this incredible thing, but then once the smoke settles from the show, you're like, holy shit, that was better than WrestleMania 40. That's on the table. I'm purely talking about the epicness of the build of WrestleMania 40. Like we were transcending the mainstream in ways that wrestling never will again. It won't. It can't. It cannot do what it did last year with what The Rock was doing. But it could still be a better show. It could still be a better show.
Also, because let's not forget that they tried to freaking change the rules last time and tried to screw poor Cody Rhodes after he won his Royal Rumble match and tried to screw him out of his match with Roman Reigns. I mean, God, it's crazy. I still can't believe that even was a thing. Chris Ledeck, thank you so much for the super chat. All right, let's get back to Raw. We did got some other things we got to get into. Dakota Kai defeats Ivy Nile. She's the new #1 contender to Lyra Valkyria. One of the comments you had made last week, Santi, was that you felt that Lyra Valkyria was kind of not really being spotlighted so strong as in Women's Intercontinental Champion. You even kind of forgot she was champion until she displayed the belt in a backstage segment. Dakota Kai versus Lyra. Is this something that's calling your name?
Yes. Just don't make it overstay its welcome. Because I was also very much down for the rematch of Chelsea Green versus Michin. They're now like 3 months deep into that, and I'm it was like a monkey's paws wish. I was like, I hope they run it back. And then I got it. And then I got it 17,000 more times with endless segments and endless moments between them when I want Chelsea Green to go do something else. I'm glad that they're doing this. I'm glad that because that match for the IC title was great. It was an awesome match between those two. Who wouldn't want to see this match being run back? Just don't let it overstay its welcome. Just move on when it's time to move on.
Yeah, the one time she's in defeat Dakota and then kind of just go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is I know a lot of people are, want to see Dakota. A lot of people wanted to see Dakota win the Intercontinental Championship. It just didn't feel like her time yet. It still doesn't feel like the time for her yet. And especially Lyra's barely starting this reign. So I definitely want to see her, win and kind of just move on from there and start to get some brand new opponents. All right, we got Gunther coming out and doing Jey Uso's entrance, being such a savage, telling people they smell, God knows what else. He goes out there and Santi, oh my God, did you catch the moment where he threw the mic to Pat McAfee and accidentally hit him in the nether regions? I was like, dude, you nearly took out Pat McAfee. Poor guy.
He nearly took out his McAfees. It's crazy. It's funny because like we're back-to-back weeks where that corner with Pat McAfee and Gunther, somebody gets hurt with a thrown projectile.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So anyways, I looked at this though, and I almost want Gunther to do this every week up until their match and just talk all this shit to people with yeet signs, yeet t-shirts. I know we don't want to run things into the ground, but I feel like maybe we can do this at least one more time because Gunther was just too damn funny in this. And then of course, he gets into the face of Pat McAfee and Pat McAfee tells him like, oh yeah, I hope Jey Uso beats you. Part of me thought, hey man, let's do Gunther and Pat McAfee in the meantime. I'm into that. I would be into that. But anyways, Jey Uso goes out there and they kind of have a little bit of a brawl, and that's pretty much the end of that.
So I loved, this is nitpicking. I want to clarify. I love this segment. That Gunther promo was fantastic. I thought it was so good. This is the confident shit-eating grin Gunther that I love, that I fell in love with. This is the Gunther that I want. I like the brawl. That was fine. The only thing I would have liked to change is I would have liked Pat McAfee and or Michael Cole with a straight face to be a little bit more serious in that segment and say, no, I don't think Jey Uso can beat you. Because then there was a promo backstage where then Jay's like, no one believes in me. Everyone thinks that I'm going to lose. It would have connected really well. And I feel like it would have told a better narrative that even these guys that are such fans of Jey Uso, that yeet every time he comes out, even they're having a tough time believing that he can beat Gunther. That's what I would have liked. I thought that was a missed opportunity to really make it hit home that Jey Uso is an underdog.
Right, because I think the question was from Kathy Kelly. It was something along the lines of, "Oh, the roster doesn't, nobody in the roster really believes that you can do this." And he's like very serious, and you kind of got like emotional eyes, talking about how everyone keeps denying my abilities. I won the Royal Rumble, and I'm going to prove to everybody that I'm going to win at WrestleMania. And I mean, look, Pat McAfee believes in him. Pat McAfee's hoping for him to win, so he's got one person rooting for him. So yeah, I do think that those tweaks, you're right, could have made a little bit for a stronger case there. We got Jacob Tatum here who says Jey Uso's promo was so good. The emotional one that he did right afterwards, that one I thought was the strongest one. The one that he did backstage today, I thought was pretty okay. But like you said, could have tweaked it a little bit better, but it was good enough for sure. Thank you so much, Jacob Tatum. All right, with that being said, we got Penta versus Pete Dunne. This is the second time that both of these guys have faced each other. Pete Dunne was Penta's second opponent in his second match on Monday Night Raw. And then once again, go out there, they do the thing. Penta gets the victory. Do you feel like this is a little bit of a slow start to Penta's run, or do you feel like what they've been doing with him, the matches that they've been booking with him, have felt like enough in terms of to equal the amount of buzz that Penta has gotten when he first came into the company?
I definitely like the buzz he was getting a lot more when he was just getting like one-off matches with no storyline to them. Banger with Pete Dunne, banger with Ludwig Kaiser, banger with of course Chad Gable at the start. I think things are slowing down, not because of Penta, but I just don't know that they know what they're doing with this storyline. I'm having a tough time seeing past the like 2 feet in front of me with what it is that they're trying to do with Penta, Ludwig Kaiser, and Pete Dunne. Like, what's the storyline there? What does that 3-way dance look like? Are we looking at a triple threat here? A triple threat for what? Who's the good guy? Obviously the good guy's Penta, but who's the bad guy that Penta's actually feuding with? Is it Pete Dunne? Is it Ludwig Kaiser? So it feels like a little bit convoluted in terms of what they're doing with Penta from a storyline perspective, but at least they're trying something from a storyline perspective. I can appreciate that there's an attempt there. I just don't know that the attempt is landing as well as the matches are, because I think the matches are good, but the storyline I feel like is leaving a little bit to be desired.
Right, because I look at this and you say, okay, Denise, explain the storyline to me. My understanding is Ludwig Kaiser and Pete Dunne both want to be the first guy to defeat Penta, and it's not happening.
Yeah, I think that's
So
it.
then that's between them, right? That's
And
not just, I mean, it involves Penta, but he's not really like in the actual like story. Like he's just the guy they both want to beat.
yeah, it's
That
a
makes
weak
sense?
story. I think it's a
Me
weak
too.
story. I think that's just the crux of it. I feel like we're dancing around the real point. It's just a weak story. It's not a really strong narrative to really get behind. But I think it's a one-dimensional story to allow for Penta to be able to quickly move on from this if they ever need to, because there isn't anything that he has to like really sink. He doesn't have to put his roots into this feud. They could move on from it after 1 week if they really wanted to.
Right. I'm hoping that the thing that we do get out of this is that Pete Dunne. So this is what I want to see for all these three people involved. Pete Dunne, I want him to come out more so as a serious character. Stop with all the butch bullshit. Like I'm done with that. Ludwig Kaiser continue this rise that he's been on. He had a really good promo later on in the evening where he was talking about how this is the year of Ludwig Kaiser. He's been saying that a whole
On
lot. So we need to
commercial.
actually, right, true. But we still need to see that sort of come to fruition. I think he's the guy with a lot of potential right now, but we're waiting to see, okay, when is that star making moment for him? He hasn't had that star making moment yet.
Agreed.
And then for Penta, we're sort of just waiting for the big feud. Let's get excited about something. I'm going to have the same feeling that I have for AJ Styles versus Bron Breakker with Penta versus somebody else. Who that somebody else is, I don't know. But Ludwig Kaiser's still not there yet to make it feel like that big. Pete Dunne, unfortunately, not there yet because they never really worked on building his star power. So it's got to be someone with a little bit more a little bit more of a star power so that we could be like, all right, this is exciting. Like this is the first feud for Penta. Because as of right now, they're doing everything else right with Penta. They're building up this great entrance for him. They are making sure to promote him so much through vignettes, through photo shoots, through gear, all of that, really making him feel like a big deal on Monday Night Raw. So now when you got someone who's a big deal, you got to put him in there with somebody else who's also a big deal. Because if not, then he's just out there hanging out to dry.
I think the answer is Chad again, but in a proper storyline as opposed to just a one-off match. We'll see though. The story doesn't interest me. I just like seeing Penta out there every week. I'm happy about that at least.
Yeah, that's how it feels. Alrighty, with that being said, let me go ahead and get into, here's the thing. This is the last thing we got to cover, and this is the New Day. This was probably my least favorite segment of the entire night. They just went out there. They didn't say anything new other than Kofi Kingston was putting himself over Rey Mysterio and saying that he should be the locker room leader. And this led to the LWO Dragon Lee, Joaquin Wilde, and Cruz del Toro coming out and basically standing up for their friend Rey Mysterio and running after them. And that was it. Like this was a long promo from the New Day that went really nowhere.
Nowhere.
And
You're
then
right.
no one cares. I hate to say this, but no one cares about the LWO when Rey Mysterio isn't there. And that's not their fault. They were treated like jobbers for most of the time.
That's true, and that's coming from two Latinos here. Like this Latino world order is more over than that Latino world order.
Let's
if I'm
go.
being
We're gonna
honest
get
with you.
LWO shirts.
What I'm pretty sure that was like a long hiatus return from Del Toro and Joaquin Wild, and just like no one cares.
Like, I didn't even notice. What do you mean? Were they gone?
They've been gone for like months.
No, they have not.
Literal months, Denise. Literal months.
Like
we have not seen them. Literal months we've not seen them. And that was a big triumphant return. But who cares? Like, this faction is so DOA. It's just, it's not doing anything for anybody. And look, the New Day still has momentum, but getting chased off by Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde is not a good look. It's just not.
It's not. They need to speed this up. They need to get them out of this whole thing with the LWO. They need to get the New Day going in a different freaking direction, because this does not, Santi, our first show that we ever did together was when they turned on Biggie.
Yeah.
And that was like massive, man.
One of the best moments of 2024.
Exactly. Everybody was talking about it. It felt like one of those peak WWE moments that you're going to go back and, rewatch when you're on YouTube in several years from now, going down a rabbit hole of wrestling memories. And what came of that? Nothing.
So far, nothing. So far, absolutely jack shit. Like, nothing.
And I'm like, okay, I thought they would have been tag team champions by now. I thought they would have been, hell, I would have even brought Biggie back for some more backstage segments. Why the hell not? Why did we just only have to see them that one time? You're telling me you can bring Biggie back and they could have some more moments either in the ring or backstage, anything, because that was the thing people were interested in. I don't see why we just couldn't see Biggie at all in this.
They did not capitalize on this at all. They had one of the coolest moments from the tag team division that I've seen in years. And it was so good. So good. And they've done absolutely nothing with it. And it's a shame. Like, they should be in the tag team title picture. Like, they should be doing way more than just being told New Day sucks in backstage segments. Like, great. Like, it was funny when, when Dominik did it, when Dominik told him, like, oh, that was crazy what you guys did. It was funny the first couple of weeks when nobody wanted anything to do with New Day and people said New Day sucks. Like, we're now all of December, all of January, halfway through February. We're like 2.5 months into this. And it feels like it's just dragging every single week. It's not going anywhere.
Man, all right. We had better hopes for this. We had higher hopes for this. So hopefully they resolve this whole thing with the New Day and spice it the hell up, man. Alrighty, everyone. That was our WWE Raw post show for February 17th. As always, thank you guys so much for hanging out with Santi and I. Santi, please take the floor and tell the people where they can support you across everywhere.
You can find me over on everything related Santi's app. You can Google and pick the social media platform of your choice. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitch. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Patreon if you want even more content. I'm everywhere. Just look up Santi's app and pick your poison.
I love that. Pick your poison. All righty, guys. As for me, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. Click that subscribe button. I'm also everywhere. You guys can come find me, sharing a bunch of stuff all over social media. So I hope to get connected with you guys and let us know what you guys think about our show with me and Santi. I always love to read everyone's comments. So make sure you guys leave comments on the video. Tweet us. We read it all. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.